Well. What do you say, Daniel?
Howdy, everybody. Let's get that music out of here.
Yeah, let's bring it way down. I feel like I'm like a DJ or something, bringing it
Yeah.
way down, bringing it way down. We don't
Excellent.
need any music in the back. We got enough things in the back of our heads at all times.
Oh yeah.
How
Do you have a soundtrack that plays regularly in the back of your head?
I do. They're just weird metal riffs, and that only means something to a metalhead. But
Right.
yeah, like there's like an old Anvil song called "March of the Crabs." Goes as an instrumental. That
Okay.
you can Google that "March of the Crabs." No words. It's not dirty. Not those kind of crabs, but it's yeah, it's yeah. I have it's always like a chugs in my mind all the time.
And does it keep you energized, do you feel?
Keeps I don't know, energized. Do I ever seem energized? I don't
You
know.
always, almost
Wow.
always seem
Oh, you're
energized.
kind. You're kind.
Yeah.
What's going on in the back of your mind? Like a Enya kind of ethereal kind of
No,
Gregorian chants. I could hear you listening to Gregorian
yeah,
chants in your mind.
I am all over the place. Not really Gregorian chants. I'm either like some gospel hip hop. I love
Okay.
gospel hip hop,
Here we
which
go. Here we go.
check out like Trip Lee or Flame or in Indie Mineo, those guys.
Wow.
Awesome. I got those, or I'll like randomly have a hymn pop up in my head, an old hymn, or
Cool. Cool.
Christmas music in July. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Well, many people would forgive you for that. That's the whole because we're pretty much December is in like about 5 seconds.
Yeah,
So
right.
all bets are off. Everyone that was sort of you can't do Christmas until it's the such and such. Now it's
hmm
December.
hmm
So let it rip. Let it rip.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm
this
glad to be here again.
yeah, me too. Me too. We got a different look. We're working the bugs out.
Yeah, we have a
You're
lot of improvements that we need to do still on our production value, but
yeah,
little by
totally,
little.
totally. You've now reassembled yourself in the throne room once again.
Yes.
The throne room. Are
I
people
was
bringing you things like peeled grapes and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're waving me at you can't see them. I've told them to stay out of camera.
Yeah.
They're waving me with the palm leaves.
Stay out
That's
of the shot. Yeah. Right,
Yeah,
right.
no, I actually am looking for another chair, but this is still the chair. This is the throne.
Sure. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm actually sitting this time. I was standing last time, just figuring things out.
cool.
I, as you know, I took the day off, played hooky from work, and it was just glorious.
Yeah,
Just
how
glorious. Did
tell
just enough work around the house that I didn't feel guilty,
okay.
and you know, and did some good relaxing.
A funeral director on a day off. Do you like meander around the cemetery and do you, like polish some headstones or
Right, yeah. That's regular day. That's regular day. No, it's work in the garage and pick up some dog feces, really like
okay.
rock star stuff.
That
This is
sounds like really normal person stuff.
yeah, yeah, I wish I had something interesting like polishing headstones, but and I know you were busy working with a new family,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
prearrangements, holding the fort down.
Yes. Yeah, I was, and all went well. Um, just serving those people that are in our community and blessed to do so. Uh,
I thought, well, I think we both did. We were kind of doing a little pre-show discussion here, going back over something really interesting. I think was really interesting that you and I did together this week in the little town of Wallaceburg,
mhm.
which actually gets its name from William Wallace. You know William Wallace, Braveheart. You ever see Braveheart?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was not in Canada, not in
No,
Ontario.
no, but they borrowed his name because there's a lot of
Oh,
Scottish things around. Because I was like, oh, Wallaceburg, meh, meh. But I think, oh wow, named after William Wallace. Freedom!
freedom!
Yeah, okay. Wallaceburg got a lot cooler all of a sudden. That's cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah, but we were invited thanks to conversations that happened ahead of time
Right.
with that active adult center,
Mhm.
which if you don't know what that is, listeners, it's like a 50 plus club. It's a building where it's got pool tables. You can go play euchre. You can meet with some people. They've got classes in there and crafts and whatever. And one of the directors met Daniel and I at a senior show, which sounds really terrible, but it was actually awesome.
Yeah.
And
And why do we do senior shows?
to interact with people, to
Yeah,
introduce our
yeah.
company and what we do to the general public, really.
Mhm.
And
It's interesting how many questions people have coming through this senior show, and we give them free pens and,
yeah,
some stuff. They love it.
seniors love free pens, and I'm a junior senior, and I love free stuff too. So I'm already there. I'm already there. But yeah, thanks to that little meeting them a couple months ago, they had us in a couple days ago to
Mhm.
talk with whoever wanted to come and listen to a couple funeral directors, kind of Q&A, explain who we are and how things work. We walk in the door. There must have been about, what did we agree on, like 47 people or something?
Yeah, 47 and a half.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
because we didn't know, there was no kind of like, is there going to be one person, no people,
yeah,
and it was, I thought it was great. It was really great. Definitely, 60 and up for sure. Some
yeah.
some some super
Say
elderly
60
people.
60 to 93.
Yeah,
That's about the range there,
yeah,
and,
yeah, big
you know
time.
what? I was, we were just right on time, so James had to tuck and roll and
Woo, yeah.
get right into it, and I had to look for a parking spot, and then I found the parking spot, and I went in, and you had already started, and you were talking about, the company, and I forget all the I mean, maybe I wasn't listening well enough, but it was good, I from what I heard,
Well, I kind of panicked because I walked in. These 47 and a half people are all sitting in a corner of a room
right?
in chairs, staring at a wall and a TV that was off. And I
Right.
thought, hi, everybody. Okay, we better start. They were punctual. We were
Yeah.
about 2.5 minutes late. That's just embarrassing and
Oh,
unacceptable.
yeah. Yeah,
But
absolutely. But
but
it went
they
really
forgave us.
well.
Yeah,
So James talked about, the history of funeral services and
a little
what
bit.
a parlor, living room, the background to what is living room. Actually, James, why don't you tell us real quick,
Well,
where
I
that came
love it.
from?
It's everyone's heard of like maybe not the olden days. People had their in their home was the parlor, was like the nice room. You went in when you had tea, when Aunt Mildred came over. It was you kept your nice stuff in there. When the pastor came to visit or the priest, you'd visit in the parlor of your house. And we're talking like a century ago, which is really not that long ago. You'd care for your parents at home. They would get sick, they would die in the home, and ultimately an undertaker type helper person of some sort would come and assist and set up your deceased family member in the parlor,
Okay.
on a bed, on a in a casket, in a coffin, whatever. People
Mhm.
could then come and pay their respects in the parlor. And then eventually, as we sort of grew and changed in a society, people started saying, I don't know if I want dead people in my house anymore. I don't know if I
Mm.
want to do that anymore. But the furniture guy that you bought the casket from or the coffin from, he said, well, I've got a beautiful front parlor in my house or my showroom. You can use it. You'll invite everyone to my parlor, the birth of the funeral parlor,
Okay.
farmed out. And then in turn, all of us regular citizens start saying, well, let's not call this the parlor anymore. Let's call it the living room. And that was the
Hmm.
birth of that term, the
The
living room.
living room.
Yeah,
Huh, that's
yeah.
so interesting.
I think it's like in a 1911 Better Homes and Gardens magazine or something when
Okay,
the word was first coined. I thought,
cool.
that is really cool. Hasn't always been a living room,
Right.
you
That's
know?
interesting.
Yeah,
And a couple ways they used to preserve the body in the home.
sure. Yeah.
Did they use dry ice back then?
I don't know if they had such a thing as dry ice.
No.
I don't know. I know definitely ice,
Ice, yeah, so they
slabs
would
of ice.
yeah, lay it on ice, like body on ice, right?
Yeah, I don't know
Uh,
if a dry ice is like a modern new
yeah, I'm
thing. I
not
don't
sure,
know.
but the other thing that they used to do is the funeral director could come to the house and embalm the body in the living
Yeah,
room, on the
right
kitchen
there.
table,
Right. Yeah.
and they didn't have any machines to do that. It
Mhm.
was gravity injector is what it was called. So they
Yeah.
would have like a bag of the embalming fluid hooked up to a hose, and they
The
would
head.
inject that into the body, and the higher they held the bag, the quicker the fluid would go flow into the body.
Yeah, that's how you
And
regulated the pressure, was the higher the
yeah,
bag or the higher,
mhm,
like it was like a glass tubey thing, whatever.
right, like an IV, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and you know what they did with all the blood, because they're forcing the blood out when we're
okay,
displacing the blood with the preservative.
mhm,
It would be collected in jars,
Okay.
and the polite embalmer would just leave with them
Well, okay.
with big jugs of your blood. Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. But
Yeah.
from what I understand, it was neat as a pin.
Well, because they probably didn't have indoor plumbing at that
Yeah,
point.
right. Yeah, they weren't running any water down the table. There's nothing. There was no. Yeah, there was
Right.
nothing like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
wild stuff.
if you notice, I'm not using my big jug of water.
Thank
I
goodness.
now I got
We
this
got so
massive.
many complaints on that.
I know. Like, relax, everybody. I'm thirsty. I'm talking. But now I have this, which I'm gonna upgrade this. Don't worry. But if you see me drinking and then chewing, there's a reason. James,
Okay.
do you know what I could be drinking today?
And also chewing?
Hmm.
Oh, I bet you it's some kind of like a smoothie thing, like a celery and avocado and wheat germ. No. Okay.
If it was, I would have blended up, so don't have to chew it. I'm drinking bubble tea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've only ever heard of this.
Oh,
This is something that old people hear of. We don't know
it's
anything of this.
I made it at home before I came. It's one of my favorite
So what do you chew?
drink. They're tapioca balls. They're called boba.
Oh, okay, I'm out. Well, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, you sound like my dad.
Yeah, like I don't like the texture. I'm like, yeah, that's a texture thing that I just like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
and you're chewing it
but
up. Well, there you
oh,
go.
yeah, it's
Enjoy your
fantastic.
chewy drink. That's
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just being like the old cranky guy. I'm drinking coffee at 8:30 at night. Like what a weirdo. And
Coffee?
I will still go to sleep, no problem.
Really? So you
That's how
oh,
ruined I am.
wow.
Yeah.
I got off of caffeine for a bit, because it's kinda hurt my stomach, all the acid,
Mm.
and now if I have a cup of coffee I'm like an old person now. If I have a cup of coffee after, like, 3 or 4,
Oh wow.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night, like, super awake, and my mind's racing.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
there you go. There you go.
Anyways, boring.
From home embalming to chewing your drinks.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what was your feel of those 47 and a half people? They seemed
Mm.
kind of stiff in the beginning, but then all of a sudden we're
Not as
getting
stiff as
laughs.
some that we deal with, but
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
so, but yeah, it was. Let me think. They start off by kind of being pretty reserved. They got their
Mm.
walls up
Yeah,
big
their
time,
faces were
right?
just like,
Yeah, they're
"Boing."
like, "Are you guys gonna try to sell us stuff?
Mm.
Like, are you shysters? Like, what's all this about?" It was,
Yeah,
and I thanked them for coming and being brave for coming to listen to a couple of funeral directors,
right.
and then I just opened it up and asked them, started like, "Hey, when you hear a funeral home, what do you think of first, right?" And then we start getting these questions and
Well,
these
remember
thoughts.
remember what the guy said? No
Cost,
hesitation. The
cost.
money.
Yep,
The money.
100%.
Yeah, really loud.
And how many people were nodding? Like, everyone except for 1 or 2. Like, everyone's like, "Yeah, for sure, that's what I think about too," right?
Yeah.
So then I went into, discussing about cost of funeral services, and thankfully that I work at a place that offers affordable funeral services, for folks. So, yeah, and then, I there was a lot of questions, really good, and by the end, after all that discussion on death and funerals and everything, they were so relaxed.
Mhm.
Their
Yeah.
their shoulders were relaxed. They were sitting back more. They were smiling. They were laughing. It was good.
Yeah, it
And
was 1 hour. It was 1 hour, which was just enough. Just enough.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys were in the back. I could see they're like starting to like, okay,
Okay, we're
and
good.
actually,
We're
yeah,
we're good.
we heard it, and it was great. And some of the stuff, I don't know. Why don't we talk about a couple of the things that we talked to them about? A couple of their questions.
Well, it's funny. I mentioned this to them early on. I think before it even came that every time we have a chance to do this type of thing, or people that would walk in the door of our office unannounced, or sometimes just on the phone, it's like the same 8 or 9 or 10 questions, all
Yeah.
different people, but they're people have the same kind of questions about everything from embalming to scattering
Hmm.
to do you have to do this? Are you allowed to do that? A lot of people wonder, like, what are you allowed to do?
Right.
It's kind of nice to remind people it's free country.
Yeah.
There is laws, but it's a lot of common sense there.
Yeah,
But
can I bury my loved one in the backyard?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that type of thing. Who's in charge? Who's in charge? That they I was sort of they don't put it in those kind of terms, but
mhm,
gives us a chance to sort of remind people, get a will, get something like that going, or
right.
but I find that the main thrust is often like that one lady sort of like, so how is anyone going to know in my family? And you said like, well, you're going to
Mm.
tell them. You're going to have a
Yeah,
conversation with people
yeah,
in your family. Be like,
mhm,
oh right, yes, we should tell other people. Yeah,
yeah,
it seems crazy, but people maybe
mhm,
she's like, I'm getting some of my answers finally, and
yeah,
then she's ready to sort of like lock it into her mind. But no, tell your daughter you
right,
want to be buried, or tell your
mhm,
son,
and
do not.
absolutely, have that conversation, and what so I did a pre-arrangement today,
Mm,
and a pre-arrangement is when someone comes into the funeral home and wants to arrange ahead of time and oftentimes pay ahead of time for their funeral service. So that way
a-
it's planned, it's paid for, the family at the time of need doesn't need to worry about the cost and all those
and
things,
most
right?
of the time, no one's even sick, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all that pressure is not even there.
Yep, I've
So
prearranged for someone my age, that came in. They thought, "You know what? I've got a little extra money, and I'm gonna just do this." And
sure,
there
sure.
was no sickness, no nothing, but,
Yeah. So I
they
cut you off. So yeah, you're
yeah,
talking with them.
yeah, so the, sorry, I just
I got you. That's me. I bad habit.
that's okay.
I just
It
could
was
jump in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so I'm just trying to backtrack,
Yeah, you're
real
talking to
quick.
someone prearranging. Maybe she came in at a certain kind of what's the word? Kind of certain kind of tension,
Mhm.
and then but she
Yeah.
left in a
Oh,
different type of tension.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But one thing, and that's been standing out to me a lot lately. Tell me what you think about this. Okay, is for a long time now, for a lot of years, traditional funeral homes, corporations, and such have been really trying to push people to pre-arrange.
Mhm.
And why are they doing that? As a corporation, why would they want to invite people to pre-arrange? They
Was
want to
sort of
do yeah,
build up the future banks, I guess. The
right,
future clients.
right. So they kind of want to secure that business,
Yeah.
right? And so they've really come up with this whole marketing scheme to try to get to say, make sure to have it your way
Hmm.
and do what you want for your funeral.
Hmm.
And I've kind of got an issue with that because what I've been thinking about, and I had a conversation with some people today, is saying, you know what? It's actually not really about you. Your funeral isn't really it's not for you. It's about you, but
Hmm.
it's not for you. It's
Hmm.
for the people that are left behind that are grieving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I said, I understand, okay, you have okay, I don't want to be laid out. I don't want anybody to see me. I just want to make it quick and et cetera, et cetera. And yes, that sometimes that is definitely what is needed, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, other times, like, and I've sat with families who their father had prearranged a very simple direct cremation type of service
Right.
or no service really, and they were like, oh man, we really want a funeral. We thought he would have a funeral, like a funeral mass or a visiting he's got like 1,000 people who would come out to this, and he just went and did this, and
Right.
now we feel obligated to do what he had pre-arranged and prepaid for, but
Hmm.
we feel like we really actually need a lot more than this.
Right. Right.
So that's why I'm encouraging people right now, talk to your family.
Yeah.
Say, "Hey, this is what I feel like I want. What
Mhm.
do you guys feel like you need?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And work it out.
Want and need. Big difference. Yeah.
Have a conversation, start the conversation. And to go back to your point about how people feel uncomfortable and they feel they don't even want to talk about it,
Hmm.
because who really wants to talk about death and dying and
Right.
funeral, your own funeral plans. um but but once you start having that uncomfortable conversation, things actually might start becoming a lot more comfortable, and then you can just face it and deal with it and get that off of your shoulders. And I think it's going to be a great help for people.
I want to feel like I want to say something radical here. Like we could
Mhm.
almost guarantee the more that you talk about these things, the less scarier they get. We see that
Yeah.
all the time. That
Mhm.
from the person coming into the pre-arrangement, really tense, and
Mhm.
then talking about their plans, or like we said before, someone coming into a visitation, just terror in their mind, seeing
Yeah.
a deceased person, they're doing a very
Mhm.
hard thing, and then
Mhm.
realizing the more exposure, the more conversation, the more okay, I'm accepting
Right.
this. I get it. It's still hard and spooky and weird,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't rule me. That fear does not rule me as much. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think we could tell people confidently, you have these conversations every once in a while
Mhm.
and face those fears.
Mhm.
A lot of that air comes out of the horror balloon.
It's like almost like normalizing it a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
What's that movement? We're not. I don't know if we're part of it
Oh,
or something, but
death positive.
death
Mhm.
positivity, like not sort of like death is awesome, not that, but
Right,
it's death is coming, and
right,
why waste our lives being terrified of it?
right, and
You know?
I think that that movement had a lot to do with, um, it kinda it's the pendulum swing, right? So
Yeah,
we went
yeah.
you go from, I think that movement, kind of attacks the
Funeral industry.
the funeral industry. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
say, "You know what? The funeral homes are making everyone look a certain way. Everyone's all powdered up. It, like, covers the effects of death, and we can't say dead body. We can't say,
right,
this. We can't do this, and we can't do that because everyone's too afraid." So the
right.
death positive movement saying, "You know what? Let's use some of these harsh words. Let's face the reality of death, that it is the reality. It's inevitable. We're all
Yeah,
gonna have to face it, and let's just start to break some of those uh, social barriers down."
yeah, 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 for sure. Kinda like, yeah, normalizing, like, there's like, the Death Cafe movement, and it's a
Mhm.
mixture of all kinds of things. Some of the eco stuff seems kinda goofy to me, I don't know. Body composting is kinda, really? But,
I think that's cool. I like
yeah,
that idea.
yeah,
But
it seems very, very nichey or nichey, kinda
right,
like it's gonna be just like a few people that are ever gonna sorta do that, but anyway, that
you know
doesn't
what?
matter.
I think that's interesting. I think it's cool. It's like turning your body back to earth really, really quickly, which is really neat, but in a very natural way.
You
For
you
those of
you
you who
turn into
don't
you
know,
turn into dirt.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what we're supposed to do,
yeah, right. So
right?
some if that happens to you, we can say, people say, "What happened to Daniel?" "Oh, he soiled himself." Yeah.
You dirty Daniel. Oh
Yeah, I
man,
I I hear you. Yeah, it's creative and creative, but yet, ancient. Like, that's been probably the bulk of all humans have been
yeah.
just turned to dirt, right?
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
history. But yeah, yeah,
yeah,
death positive. I love the idea that it's, the opposite of sterilizing
right,
and hush, quiet, and we turn everyone into a wax figure, and
right.
and carry them around like they're like Lenin's tomb. That thing, if you
Yeah,
Comrade Lenin is still supposedly being
right,
viewed, but he's
right.
really just a wax figure, fake, blah blah blah. But
Yeah, interesting.
yeah,
Um,
death is
but,
real.
yeah, I think I you know what I don't like? What creeps me out? So I don't mind the composting drawers. I think that's interesting. I
Sure,
think it's cool. What I don't like, and I think it's because it seems like a lot of uncomfortable work for me as a funeral director, is have you seen
I think I know where you're
those
going.
bags where they put a naked body and they put, like, a tree roots in them, and
Oh,
you're, like, in a fetal position, and you're buried like that with a tree
yeah.
rooted, and then
I'm a little surprised to hear you go on about that, because a little bit. Not that you're going on about it, but
right,
I did a fairly deep dive into that, and it's never really happened. It was someone's dissertation somewhere in Finland or something like that.
okay,
Because
okay.
like you as a funeral director, how the heck
Oh,
are you going
terrible.
to put a person into a
Uh-uh.
fetal position
Right.
and put a giant root ball on a truck somewhere and have a cemetery go, yeah, sure, no problem. It's just,
Mm-mm.
yeah, it kind of perpetuated those things. People, I want to become a tree. You're not going to be a tree. You're going to be a
No.
corpse, and you're going to decompose. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's never really happened. But
Right.
yeah, it was some kind of suggested wave of the future kind of thing. Because yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's
Yeah, I've seen, like, I don't know, probably on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, like, make
it's
yourself
the
into a
same
tree.
sketches. You see the same
Yeah.
sketches, and
Mhm.
I get it. Yeah, all that. That what is real? Definitely. There's probably a really fancy scientific name for it. Literally freezing someone solid with liquid nitrogen, and
Oh,
then
and then
they're then
vibrating them.
yeah, then they're shattered, and
Yeah.
then they're put in the dirt. It's sort of like
Man,
a quick
what
start on decomp, but
that
nowhere
is
around here.
I was gonna say, where is that done?
It's probably another Scandinavian kind of Denmark, Finland,
Wow.
Norway type type of thing. Those
That's
folks always do that stuff.
They probably discovered it by finding someone
Yeah,
outside,
maybe.
and then, I don't know, going to
Where's
give them a
Hans?
massage,
Oh, Hans. Oh,
trying to
and then
massage them with the brrr, and, oh, they just fell apart.
he just shouted. He shouted. Yeah, he sharted. Yeah,
Shattered.
that's
Yeah.
that's wild. That's wild. Yeah. So yeah, this is like about 9 podcasts, just going through the different things people can do with their bodies. But
Yeah, so you can get your, cremated remains turned into a diamond.
you know how old that company is? This is amazing. That company is, I think, 35 years old. So
Wow.
they've been doing that a long time down in Florida. The original Life Gems is the original. There's like
Okay.
19 other
Question,
spin-offs now.
how much cremated remains do you need to make a diamond? And is it, cremated a teeny bit inside of the diamond, or is it your cremated remains turn into the diamond itself?
Yeah, well, what my understanding, because I kind of dove into that a bit too, it's 4 ounces of cremated remains or hair, and they
Or hair?
they have the process where they extract the carbon out of either the hair or the 4 ounces of cremated remains, and then they have these pinpointed, these weird machines that go for about 30 days of pressure and heat and kind of recreate what the earth does over a long
Right.
period of time. And so yeah, the actual diamond is created from the carbon in the cremated remains. So much of the other stuff, the calcium and stuff like that, is whisked away.
Wow.
But somehow, I don't know, chemistry wise, they pull the carbon out, because
Can
that's what
you
diamonds are.
can you, request, like, how clear you want your ashes to be,
I,
like the
I think
cut
so.
and
Yeah,
all that? Probably.
they can be pigmented. There's like
The
blue and
Four-Cs and
green,
all
and
that.
yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, life gems, life gems.
Interesting, interesting. Hey, since we're on this topic, one thing that we do regularly for people is the glass, which is really cool. So, I don't know, you can go onto our website and check it out, lifetransitions.ca. But there's a few really cool items, and they're say what's it, like a paperweight made of
Oh, right,
glass,
yeah.
but it looks like a galaxy inside the glass,
Yeah,
and
when the
you're
glass is
cremated.
like liquid molten glass, they kind of roll it in the yeah, I'd love to watch them make it sometime.
Yeah, we definitely gotta get let's try to get in and do a tour of that. That'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
that'd be awesome, and we can even maybe share it on this podcast.
Say, "Hey, we do this amazing podcast that all these people watch,
Yeah,
and so it would be good for
there's
your
like
business."
over 10 people were watching it.
We're talking like tens and tens of people. Well, I
Yeah.
saw our first episode, I think, has 56 views. Like, hello. I
Hey,
know like 49
and
of them are you and us, you and me, but
and you know what? For those of you who, are getting some, education or enjoyment
yeah,
or whatever out of this, why don't you, share it with somebody?
yeah,
And in the traditional like and subscribe,
yeah,
which would be
important.
super cool, and share it with a couple of people. Say, you got to check out these two funeral directors. They're gonna be huge. They're gonna be huge. It's gonna be so
Well,
big.
I love the whole concept of humble beginnings, which these are.
Mhm.
As he drinks his bubble tea,
Yeah.
I'm in the hallway here with a
Mm.
t-shirt on, no pants. Like this
Oh,
is no,
wow.
I do have pants. I do have pants.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because are you in the office?
I'm in the office. Hey,
Well, I guess it's your office. You're allowed to walk around however you
that's right.
choose.
That's right. I may or may not even have a client in the building here, but that's okay. He's well cared for. He's well
Yes.
cared for, and it's quiet and safe here. But
So
I'm looking at the clock on the wall here, Mr.
mhm,
Daniel.
mhm.
And we're getting pretty
Wow.
darn close to the 30-minute mark, believe it or not. Like we talk so freely,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden time just whisks away.
A little part of this was boring me at first, but then I got interested into it
Okay,
after.
good, good. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, and you know what? I guess, to leave our audience, our guests, our watchers, our viewers, subscribers, to leave you guys with a little something today, I think what I would like to encourage you to do is talk to your loved ones about what they would like and about
Mhm.
what you would like and about the different options, because some people think, oh, if I'm going to be cremated, uh, that's it. It's just a cremation. But you can actually have a visitation
Oh, big time, big time.
before the cremation even happens or after the cremation happens, or and ask them, have you ever been to a funeral service that has just been an urn? How did that make you feel?
Mhm.
Was that great and no problem, or did that leave you feeling like you missed out on a little closure process or something like that? So
Sure.
start talking about it. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that's all you got to do. And I think you're going to find yourself a little bit more comfortable when you start discussing it with your loved ones.
Well, and even though people would say, "Well, I'm kind of afraid to do that." Well, people go into war afraid, but they still go. That's called courage. You're afraid to do it, but you do it anyway. You come out
Mm,
the other side less afraid
mhm.
and more in control of yourself. Yeah, that's great advice. I love it.
Wow. Yeah,
We're
I love that.
we're like probably even actually past an old guy like me's bedtime, so
Okay.
we're probably gonna wrap this up.
Good
Yeah,
night, James.
yeah. You remember that you had that beautiful music that
Yeah.
you requested?
Well,
We'll
thanks
bring this
everybody
back
for
in.
tuning in.
Yeah. Don't forget to
Have
subscribe,
yourselves
everyone.
have yourselves a good one. And send us a
Peace.
message. Tell us what
Yeah,
what more you want to hear about, what kind of crazy questions you have too.
that'd be perfect.
All
Yeah.
right. We're
Have a
out.
good one, man.
You too. Bye.
See ya.